Hi everybody, how you doing? So, look what I found. We'll talk about my hair in a second, but I found beads from Microlocs. It's on. See? The hole is small enough. Let me pull it down so. Isn't that neat? I think I'm gonna sell beads. As a matter of fact, I started a Instagram page called The Lockbox. And I put some beads on there. Sorry about the sweating from the camera or whatever. Okay, I have the window open. I like South Florida heat. It's a thing. It's a thing. The breeze and all of that. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna talk to you today about my lock install, because in my last video I told you all that I was taking down the locks that I had and I'm putting these in. So they've been in for about 3 weeks now, all but the ones right here, because I redid them. These 2 rows and this row, I redid them last week, and I wanted to do this video sooner so that you can see when they were fresh, but I just want to show you. For people who have hair like mine, I am 4C, low density, fine hair. So my locks, these are the newer ones. I want you to see how fine they are. You see this? And they were skinnier than this last week, because you know it puffs up, right? See how thin they are? And they're longer because they have to shrink and they have to puff. 4C, fine, low density chicks. Check it out. Look how much fatter they get. So much sooner. Look how fat. They are so much juicier looking and bouncy like. So they don't stay like this. And we don't stay scalpy. They get bigger. So here's a new one. And here's an old one. Now, can you see? Yeah. And all of mine are pretty much parted evenly. There are some that are very small. I think I have 2 in here that are larger. And I think I'm going to split them. So right now I have 409 locks. Let me show you. Hold on here. Let me take this one and slide it. It looks like it's coming off. So I need to tie a knot or do something, or maybe tie it up here and do something, because this hole is a little larger than this tiny little hole right here that you cannot see. All right, so I've been collecting beads, and I think that's something that I want to start selling, really. So I found some like awesome beads. All right, so let's move this chair out of the way for now. Let me step back a bit. Maybe there. I'll do the trick. It is so humid down here. It's not really as hot as it seems. It's just humid. Very humid. And I have the door. My mom said turn on the AC before I started this, but nope. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna let you see my hair. I was very successful with my grid. I'm telling y'all, like, I did a heck of a job on my grid. And I am so proud of me. I kept my measuring tool with me at all times. And I would go back and check and everything to make sure that I was still on course. See that? Oh, look at there. That grid looks good. Now, I want to point out something that's very important. And that is how you don't see a really clean, crisp look on my grid. You know how it is when we're, you know, we want to see that grid pop through and all that kind of stuff. But I am more concerned, I've decided, with the health of my hair. And when it's thin, low density hair, you can't really afford to be losing a lot of hair. So what I did was I didn't interlock my hair down to the roots. I left about maybe 1 or 2 rotations. Each of them has about 1 or 2 rotations more that I can do on the hair, and I've decided that I'm going to keep it like that always. Now, I started this with my niece. Her name is Nina. Thank you, Nina. Nina helped me part my hair, and she did the first 4 blocks here at the top, and the other 3 rows of 4 blocks were mine. So I had 12 blocks left to do, and she did 2, the 4 across the top, or 4 at the top. So anyway, I chose a grid. I didn't quite want to use the sister lock grid, but I used something that I saw on a Microloc grid that was really nice and close to that pattern, because I knew that I expected to have, the last time was 359. I thought maybe I'd have about 450 this time, but as it turns out right now I have 407, and I think I'm going to end up with 409 if I'm not correct. Yeah, I think I'm correct. 407 is what I have. At any rate, I mapped out my grid really well this time in comparison to the last time. I didn't have the issue with the squares getting bigger, because I kept control of that. But there are some areas where I have some very tiny locks, and they're tiny because that was just a little bit of hair that was left because of how my head is shaped. And if I had added it to the lock next to it, it would have been too large. And so when they were small like that, I knotted them at the roots. I came across Melissa Blake, but before her, I saw several other people who were knotting their locks to repair them where they were thin. So I figured, okay, let me try it here. I mean, it's hair, it's my hair. I can try what I want. So I did. Let me see if I can find one over here. I think there are only maybe 2 of them. Okay, so we're close. You see how thin it is down here at the bottom? And none of that is knotted. None of that is retied. But the knot is here. And to make them thinner, you just pull them down towards the scalp more. And it makes it thinner. See? So it's not a really big knot anymore. But at any rate, I did that on maybe 2 locks in my head that were thin, and so I got a 3-way mirror, a lighted 3-way mirror, and I took it one day at a time. I did the entire front myself. I did up to about right here for a few hours one day, and then I finished it the next day. Same thing here, up to about right here, and I finished it the next day. And I recorded on a daily tracker, what I finished. Like, I did a complete journal. It was so neat. I completed what I finished and how many locks I had in each square that I did. Each day I tracked it, and that's what I did. And the same thing in the back. I took it day by day and finished columns. I had 4 columns, so it should take me 4 days, and that's what I did. Yeah, and that's how I finished my hair. And let me say to you that it is rewarding to do your own. It was tiresome, yes. My arms didn't hurt as much as they did when I was parting the first time with my mom. Man, that was crazy. And with Nina, it was crazy. The parting was a lot, and she did a lot of it, but I was teaching her, and she's so beautiful, and I just want to teach her something. I like giving back, or paying it forward, really. So the reason that it's rewarding is because I know where everything is in my head. I know where the small locks are. I know the areas that need to be checked often, like the back. And because I can check the back like I can always go in there and retighten them. When they start to loosen in the back, I just retighten them. I don't have to wait for my next retie to correct these problems. So it's like I wore a wig and I had the clip in there. I was trying to keep the clip out of my locks. I didn't want it to break or anything, but it kind of and those locks started loosening back there in the back, and I was able to pull out my little ding, 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 and I'm done. You know, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I think I'm going to, you all stay tuned for it, make a video that talks about all of the DIY do's and don'ts. There's some things that I wasn't able to find online, but I had to work them out myself, right? And so now I want to give the information to other people. Like this one thing, I saw this woman mention it, and I was like, yeah, I had that problem too. You know, sometimes you have to stop in the middle of doing a lock. You need to stop, or the tool slips, so you need to put it back in, right? So you got to remember where you started, where you stopped when you start again. Heaven forbid something distracts you, or you got to go to the bathroom, any number of things. Now you don't remember where you stopped. So I created a little system, and for the most part it worked. I tried to make sure that whenever I stopped at 9 o'clock. And I knew that I was going counterclockwise. So I go from 9 to 6 and keep going around. So I did the 4-point reverse on all of my locks. And there were some, well, not all of them. I'll explain that in a minute. There were some that, you know, as I got closer, especially if they were thinner, as I got closer to the roots, I changed from 4-point to 3-point rotation. Reverse, though. All of them is reverse for me. My nose is itching. This is the craziest thing. Like, my nose isn't running. I'm not having a problem. There's no sinus issues. Okay. So, you know how when you get hair weave in your face and it just feel like you... Weird. So... Anyway, that's what I did, and I was able to go back to 9 o'clock. I would always start at 9 o'clock. And then, you know, over the past couple of weeks, I may feel some that are, you know, slipping a lot, but they're not out, so I don't have to restart them. And I always start at 3 o'clock, because I know 12 was the last thing I did, and I'm going to go counterclockwise. So I start at 3 o'clock, 12, 9, 6, 3 o'clock. That's what I did. All right, so if I got too close to my roots, then I would do 9, 12, 3, 12, and stop. Like that. But I know what I did in my head. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a difference. I learned about angling, how, okay, let me just say this now. I'm going to put it in the next video, but when you're doing your DIYs yourself, you don't want to pull down like this to be doing your hair. Can't do that. You got to hold it out here. When you get up here, you got to hold it out away from you. In the back, it needs to be here. You need to be working from out here in, not down here because you can't get to it. You got to pull it out. So you need to work. And the reason for doing that is so that you can move them around. You ever look at some of the videos and you see how people's locks look like they're pulled straight down, just down like this, and it's got all this space and then it's locked down there? Man, that's crazy. That's crazy because now you're pulling on that little bit of hair right there. There's so much stress. Every time you move that lock out of that position, the most stress is right here on the bottom. Those hairs are the ones that are going to thin, right? You just have to think about physics, I guess, or something. I don't know. Just pay attention to the women who are... And that's how I picked it up. The women who are doing clients, the ones who have a lot of business, you'll see them. They're all pulled out, same angles. They're at that angle. They're not pulling hair down and putting in locks. When I see someone doing that, then I know that's not a person that I would consider to do my hair, you know, because they're pulling in the wrong way. And I know it's going to cause problems along the way. So it was really good. Now, I haven't installed my extensions. I have purchased them. I said I was going to bring them on for this video and I didn't do it. And I don't know how to pause. And guys, I'm not really good at this social media thing and apps and stuff. So I don't even know if I can pause this and pick it back up. I think if I stop, then it stops. And I don't know how to stitch them together. So boom. I hear people saying, oh, I'm going to show you a picture right here. Right here. I ain't got no picture. I don't know how to do that. I'll get there though. So at any rate, I was saying that it's a good thing that I could do it myself, because now I can also tell when I go to sit in someone else's chair, and I plan to do that at some point, just, get another set of eyes on my head, so that an expert, because I'm going to look long and far and wide and whatever for an expert. I don't want a braider. I prefer a stylist, someone who's been doing hair for years. Baby, if you can relax it and lay it and grow it, you can do that to this too, because it's hair. But if you've only been braiding, then I don't think that you know what it takes to do what you're doing. So at any rate, Mom, go back. Okay, that's my mom, y'all. All right, so at any rate, I'm going to put the extensions in, and here's what I've decided to do. Well, to be honest, it's been about a month all together, and I'm beginning to get into this. Well, no, I'm beginning to accept it. Like, I'm going to see Cat Williams on Sunday, right? And I have a date, and he likes me no matter how I am. He doesn't care, but I'm always talking about my hair. And now for the first time, I'm kind of feeling a little self-conscious, like, you about to go in there looking like this, girl, I'm going to see Cat, and I love Cat. I hope Monique is there too. So I don't know. It's like I want to rush and put my extensions in, but I like the freeness and the feel and but the minute I need to hit a political event or something and my hair is like this, like, look, let me tell y'all, be real clear about this. You don't wake up like this. You don't. You got to spray that stuff down. You got to spray it down. So I don't know. So here's what I plan to do if I put the extensions in. I've gone over a few different techniques. Like, I bought the pre-made extensions, the machine-made extensions that look like locks, mature locks. Well, I have mastered putting those in 2 or 3 different ways. Crocheting, using the needle, interlocking, and something else I learned. Okay, so anyway, but they don't look like my hair. See, like, my hair doesn't look like mature locks. So then I'd have to start them way up here somewhere, or pull the loose hair further up on my lock. And I don't want to do that. I prefer to put those on when I have mature locks, so they look the same, right? Okay, and then I learned a technique that years ago I learned this. I could put the needle in through here, and I saw someone else doing it on YouTube. Put the crochet needle in through about right here. Oh, let me take this off. Through about... So this hair is loose to about right here, which is a lot to have loose, y'all. So you want to be careful, but I'm going to talk about that in the other video. So anyway, it's loose to about right here. So I will put the crochet needle in above that, about right here. And then I can braid this hair all the way down. I can twist it all the way down, or I can interlock it all the way back. Well, all the way down. No, all the way up. Is it all the way up? Yeah, all the way up. I can interlock it all the way up to here, and then it would look like this, right? But so here's the thing. Remember all that color I had in my hair? You see how red fades out to brown? Because that's what I look like now, brown. I cut about 1 inch or so, maybe a little more, off of my hair before I redid the second. And that was because all of that hair had been fried from bleaching in the past, and all of this was newer hair that hadn't been bleached. So I didn't want those ends. I didn't want to see all those little color buds going around my head like I see on some people. But now, thinking back on it, when I was putting my hair in, I feel like maybe I should have left that, because when you're interlocking, you want to kind of make that hair at the bottom rough. Some people tease it. I was twisting, just twist like this and start. And I would keep twisting as it, and that's how I put them in. But had I had that loose, that fried hair on the ends, it would have made it a lot easier for hair to catch, because there's some places where I was mentioning earlier that just wouldn't lock around my perimeter. Like, this one. think it's plaited. And this one is plaited. So it's kind of loose there, you see? And it's plaited right there. It's plaited. I plaited all the way down, but this is how much, you know, staying. So I'll go back in and plait that little piece again. And then I interlock them at the top because they just wouldn't catch. So my plan is to interlock until it's long enough or thick enough, and maybe I can take it out and then interlock it all the way up. If not, it will stay braided, and I'm okay with that. I think there's one or two in the back at the bottom. I had to do the same thing, and they will stay as they are. You know, until they get thicker and want to do something different. If not, they'll stay braided, and I'm okay with that. Maybe a professional would have been able to get it because they're coming from a different angle, you know. But and they've been doing it longer. This was my first time, but I did a dang good job. I'm telling y'all that. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of my work. I'm happy about finding the beads. I also want to talk about making mistakes. So they're going to happen. Like, I married quite a few times and I had to take them out, and they are not that hard to remove. Y'all, I found some really nice tools, and I'm going to, in my next video, which is going to be a little longer because it's going to be more of a tutorial. In that video, I'm trying to get that thing, you know, that contraption you put right here, put your phone there, and then it shows everything. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get one of those. I found it on Amazon. I'll go ahead and purchase it today so that I can get started on that video right away, because I want to show you, you know, I want to bring Sasha out and show you the things that I did on her hair, which I think are really important if you're, especially if you're going to DIY, but even if you're not and you want to decide what method you want to use, you know, for your hair, it's good to try it out yourself, so that you know what you're doing altogether, and you know what's being done to you altogether. It feels so much more liberating to know that when I sit in a person's chair, I have full knowledge of everything that's going on. When I feel them doing something in a certain place, I know what's there in that place, so I can kind of figure out what's going on back there without asking, and then I can ask and confirm. Right? Because I know, and I can say, watch out for this. And I can also say, don't tighten my hair down to the roots. Leave 1 or 2 rotations. I know what I'm talking about when I say that, and that person can't tell me any different. Yeah. So also in deciding with the extensions, I toggle back and forth between twisting the extensions down and braiding them down. I have a great technique for keeping them thin, which is key. You know, we see all these girls doing extensions, and there's a little plait here that's very tight, and then it just starts getting bigger. That stuff is a no-no. I don't want to hear about it expanded or any of that, because that expansion can't fit inside this little square. And that's a problem for me with my fine 4C low density hair, and my paranoia, and my want to have healthy hair. So that just goes directly against. And feeding in hair as you go down, you don't have to do that. You feed in one time if you want it longer, if you don't leave it the way it is. And that feed in is down at the bottom. It is not way up here. Not just put in a few little ties, you know, rotations or whatever, twists, braids, and then add more hair, and then add more hair. Heck no. That's what a braider would do. A loctician should know better. If your loctician is not doing it that way, she doesn't know better. He doesn't know better. I'm telling you, that's not how it's supposed to go. So there is an African company on YouTube. No, I don't think they're on YouTube. They're on Instagram and on TikTok, called Hair by Vintage. Check them out. See how they put their extensions in. It's flawless. It's just what I remember doing years ago. So that's how I'm going to put my extensions in. I'm going to start them at the roots. And I didn't want to do that initially, but the reason I'm going to start at the root is because you see that Y right there? Like I can go in there and close that up. I know how to do that, y'all. Now where is that little piece of hair I see sticking out? Oh, okay. This is from me putting that bead on. Okay, so that's something that we're learning about the beads on new locks. Okay, so at any rate, what I was saying is I'm going to go in at the roots or somewhere near the roots and put my extensions in, and most likely I'm going to braid them all the way down. And I think I'm going to, twisting is so beautiful. When you see Hair by Vintage, you'll see what I'm talking about. The twisting is beautiful, but when I plan to leave them for about 6 months if I put them in. I spent so much money coloring and all that stuff to these extensions. So that's the reason I'm putting them in at the roots, is because they'll cover up the color of my hair here, and I don't have to go in and color my hair, and I don't want to, because then I know I'm going to have to redo a lot of my locks, and I don't want to do that because they're going to slip. And so I'll put them there and braid them all the way down. But when I did a sample and I tried to take the braid out, I ended up having to take out some of my locks, some of the lock to take the braid hair out. And so that bothered me with the twisting. I mean, with the braiding. But when you braid and then you interlock, they look more of the same than interlocking and twisting. You see, and I'm going to do it for 6 months. So that's another reason why I'm thinking maybe I won't put the extensions in at all. I'm still on the fence, y'all. I thought I had done decided, but you hear it, don't you? I'm on the fence still about how I want to proceed from here. So that's why a month after installing, I'm still here. But at my retwist, the time of my retwist, perhaps I will have made a decision as to what I'm going to do. I am not against extensions at all. I'm all for them, as a matter of fact. I love my long hair. And my hair used to be long, you know, it grows really fast. So I expect these to grow fast too. I'm keeping my edges really well. Seems like some is growing in here. So I'll be able to put a lock here before long. That's all in 1 month. And I'm still using the, I mentioned it in another video, the hair bar growth serum. It works really well for me. I was so balled up in here. If I can put up some pictures of that, the before, when I started using the hair, Hollywood hair bar product, and just before I put in my first install, so you can see the difference in my edges. If I can get somebody to show me how to bing, bing, I'll put them up there so you can see. If not, take my word on it. All right. So please take my word on it. That stuff really works. And I also created, let me get this. So y'all, I'm gonna explain why this bottle is bent right here in a minute. I created a hairspray. And when I tell you, my hair feels so freaking good. My mom's hair is natural and longer, and she sprayed it in her hair. She was like, ooh, give me some of that. No, I want my own. Pour me some in another bottle. And she went and got a mister. And I spray my hair once a day, and it feels so good. I mean, like all day it feels plump. This morning I woke up, it still felt plump. Like, and you know what else? It's not all hard and matted in looking. Like before, I was using black Jamaican castor oil water by As I Am, and it gave me a film. And I made this product and I put some of that in there, and I still felt that film. So I remade the product without it because, you know, it was itching a lot and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't like that. So I made this product. So let me tell you what I did. I put these different oils that I like into distilled water because I was too lazy to make the rose water at the time. But now, you know, when I make this again, I'll make it with the rose water instead of distilled water. And all of the oils or something, the water turned a milky color, but the oils were like gunked up like cottage cheese, thick cottage cheese. And I put it in the microwave. Thus, this happened. And the water got hot, but the oil didn't melt. So then I put it in a cup and put it on 3 minutes. The water boiled. but the oil didn't melt. So I didn't know what the heck. I need this water and oil to mix. And my mom, with her brilliant 70-year-old self, she said to me, well, go and Google how to make oil and water mix. That's all you got to do. I keep telling y'all need to be smarter than what you're working with. I didn't go to Google. I went to YouTube and I found it. And now, instead of this stuff sticking all over my container, it was gunked up all over this thing. It's not anymore. And my product works perfect. I mean, my hair feels very moisturized. My scalp feels good and everything. I'll tell you some of the stuff I put in there. There's aloe, tea tree. Baby, I even have garlic in here. And olive oil. I have clove, rosemary, and some other hair growth oils, stuff like that. And it's not greasy. There's no film. It just feels like my hair had a thirst it needed to quench. And I quenched it. And it stayed on full all day. And even this morning when I felt it. And my hair wasn't all flattened in a lot. You know, it was like, and it was ready to move is what I'm saying. And if you have locks already, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't and you get them, you will know what I'm talking about. And my ends get a little fluffy and then they go back to the curls. So that's good for now, you know, but I'm not a person who has to stay with the curls on the ends. I'm a person who just has to stay with healthy hair at all times. And I'm also a person who is not going to pay, although let me tell you, I'm not putting anybody down. I have seen some beautiful work out there. Y'all, there are some people who are doing a great job and they are charging like everybody who gets locks got a boatload of money. That's how they're charging. $3,000, $31.75. I got quoted $31.75 with extensions, the mature lock extensions, and it looks so good. Oh my gosh. You know, but I just couldn't bring myself to pay the money. And it's not about having the money. It's about knowing the value of what's going on. How I value what's going on. And I don't value it there. Perhaps that's because I can do it myself and I have a special set of skills that will, you know, God bless me. And I can, if I see it and I want it, it's mine. I can do it and that's that. So I'm sorry about scratching my nose so much, y'all, but I just keep feeling like there's something in the air that's rubbing on my nose. Anyway, so I don't pay like that. In addition, I don't want a braider. So if I go to your page and I see all this braiding and then all of a sudden you started locking or there was more braiding and a little locking here and there, then you are not a loctician, the loctician that I want for me. There's this girl, Gabrielle. Oh my gosh, her work is beautiful. So I've been studying her. She's been locking now for a year. She's in North Carolina, I believe. And I think that this young lady is really going to be a good service provider, a really good loctician. And she's someone that I would travel to. And it's because I can see her work. I can see that when Gabby puts in extensions, that they're staying smaller than, you know, some things that I've seen. There was a girl who, I think she was in Detroit, I believe. She quoted me at $3,000 to install my extensions. I'm not quite sure if that was to actually put locks in and install my extensions, because I think I told her I had the locks already. So anyway, it was $3,000 to install my extensions, but that didn't include the extensions. And 400 extensions at Solar Locks, I think it's called, was like almost $2,000. So it's $2,000 for the hair and then $3,000 to install. Where's that emoji with the black thing with all the, yeah, that's where I'm at. That little orange emoji, that's where I'm at. I think that's crazy. So it's not worth it to me to do that kind of stuff. There's another lady, Locked On. Listen, this sister has a whole system with her children and I think her nephew. My girlfriend got her hair done there. It is bossed up. It is bossed up completely. But I got a quote from her for $31.75 for 270 locks. I told you I put 409 in here. So at the time I had $359, and she didn't think it looked like I had $359. My girlfriend got 270 something locks in her head, and she paid $3,000. So now here I am at $31.75 for 240 locks. And I felt like the locks would be bigger than what I want because this is what I want. So what was I going to end up having to pay for 407 locks with lockdown? I didn't want to do that either. And I mean, their work is everything, but it's too high for me, including the flight and the hotel because it takes a few days and all of that. Baby, that's almost like $10,000, $8,000, whatever. I'm not there. So then there are people like Queen Eileen online. She did her hair and her brother's hair, a medical school student. I love her. Her work is beautiful too, and she did it herself. She's a DIYer, and I like her work. And there's another young lady who I saw do the braids. Gosh, I can't say her name. So pretty. She wears a hearing aid. You guys know who I'm talking about. Her hair is so freaking nice. Like, I can get into her work. Like, I keep checking back to see what she's done next in her hair. I'll put her name in the description. I just can't think of it right off because I didn't come here to advertise for people. I just want to talk about what's going on in my head so that, you know, it'll help someone along the line. But I do say get into, here's something I want to talk about. Knotted locks. I hope I haven't lost you already because it's 40 minutes. Knotted locks. Just the most wonderful process ever. I found a woman online, Melissa Blake, doing knotted locks. And a lot of the top sister locticians are now going to knotted locks as well. And so I'm considering, you know, I contacted her. She told me to wait until I was about 6 or 9 months in because it needs to be more mature, my locks. And then she'll, you know, give me a consultation and we'll go from there as far as the training is concerned because I want to know how to take care of my hair. And I really think that knotted locks is onto something. I think that through knotted locks, we won't have as many problems when you have tiny locks, sister locks especially, you know, because there are a lot of people experiencing a lot of breakage because they're just paying for the name and not realizing that many of the people who do your sister locks didn't come from a hair background. So they don't have hair knowledge, and that is not required to become a sister loctician. So don't think that every person who does your sister locks has a full knowledge of hair. If she was a stylist before, then I would consider her. But if she wasn't, if she was a nurse, if she was a dermatologist, if she was a braider, if she was a teacher, no ma'am. I don't know what kind of experience you have in hair, but I know what I would like for you to have. And Sister Locks doesn't require any of that. They just want you to pay, attend class, abide by the rules, spread the word. That's it. All right, so we're at 40 minutes, and I'm going to stop here because I just gave some really good information at the end, and I shouldn't have. That should have been in the front, so I'm going to mention it again in another video. I'll put everything below. Please give me a like. Please share. Help my channel. Subscribe. Toodles.